if you look at this right here, if a person that's looking to follow the current trend didn't understand what the market was doing prior or doesn't have a top-down analysis, they're looking at this and saying, oh, we're creating a lower low. This is going to continue to sell. When a normal trader sees this, and this is how I used to be, you're like, yo, look at this big candle. This is going to keep selling. As a market structure trend trader, I'm already expecting buyers to come in at a lower low. The market is literally creating these trends on every single time frame all the time. And if you get good at spotting these across multiple time frames, you can position yourself to find big risk to reward trade setups. And that's literally what I do all the time.
All right, folks, here we are on Trading Up. We've got Calvin in the house from Forex Beginner Podcast. He's about to break down one of his trades from last week on GBP USD. So, Calvin, welcome back to the show, and let's see your chart.
Hey, good to see you, Cam. All right, so let's get into it. So the key to, honestly, how I look at the market is very simple. I think a lot of times we underestimate trends and the power of trends. And once I really just kind of dug into the foundations of what I learned from my first mentor, my eyes begin to open, right? And so if you start looking for trends, what is a trend? So you have a uptrend, which starts at a low, goes up to a high, it pulls back, creates a higher low. We call it a higher low because it stays between the starting point, the low, and the previous high that you just made. So it fluctuates between that point. It then hits a level and then reverses up to create a new high. That is a uptrend. Then you have a downtrend, which is the exact opposite. You start at a high, come down to a low, you pull back to what we call a lower high. You stay between the high and the low, you float somewhere between there, and then you hit a stopping point, and then you reverse down, and then you create what's called a lower low. The market is literally creating these trends on every single time frame all the time. All right. And if you get good at spotting these across multiple time frames, you can position yourself to find big risk to reward trade setups. And that's literally what I do all the time. Now, of course, there are a few other states of the market. You have a ranging market. Okay, so this is like the third state of the market that you'll see sometimes where a market is ranging sideways. And then the fourth state is you'll have impulses. All right, so an impulse is just a sharp move that's breaking structure going down or up. So sometimes you'll be in a uptrend and you'll have a impulse down that'll take out your last structure level, and you'll basically have what may be a downtrend that's getting ready to start because this impulse will start taking out uptrend structure, or you'll be in a downtrend and then you have an impulse up that starts taking out downtrend structure. All right. So those are just kind of sort of the main four states of the market that I'm looking for as I'm doing the top-down analysis. So as we look at GU and what happened last week, this is actually a trade setup that I called out and I knew where it was going, but I got stopped out and I didn't get back in because I have a 1 to 2 trade maximum. So 2 trade maximum per week. And so just to be disciplined and set the right example, I didn't get back in after price stopped me out and it ended up going my way. But the key here is not to be right all the time. The key is to have the power of knowing where the market is most likely to go and just be patient enough to position yourself consistently over time in the right position to take the trade. And some trades, it's going to come back, it's going to play around, stop you out. But then you have others that go your way, and then you look at your account, over the course of a month or over the course of a year, and you're like, wow, I've doubled my account, or like I've almost tripled my account, or like whatever the case may be. And that's where we want to be. We want to be profitable over time, not just this week, not just next week, but over time.
Now, futures traders, Blue Guardian can fund you up to $450K backed by weekly payouts, and because they sponsor Birmingham City FC, you're onto a winner. Go take a look at blueguardianfutures.com or click the link in the description.
Let's look at this GBP USD setup. So I like to start on the 4-hour time frame, but for this example, I'll start on the daily. So the first thing that I'm looking for is what is like the current trend, right? And so I'll zoom out here on the daily chart. If you look, the market is really ranging, right? However, the market is always doing something. So if you were to just zoom out or just kind of slide to the left, because I can't zoom out anymore, I'll see that, look, the market is actually at high points and then it's starting to drop down, right? So all I had to do was just slide over a little bit more and I can see that. Okay. And so what I like to do is I like to identify my trends. Okay. So I use this tool right here called the path tool. I'll start at this high and then bring the market down to this low and just kind of pull back. As price pulls back, I just draw this pullback and then start to slide over. And then now we have the market hitting a lower low. So on this downtrend, what I'm seeing on this daily chart, it's in a downtrend. It's overall trending down, right? So now I know, okay, the daily chart is trending down. So I write that down into my notes. So I have notes and I'll literally just write, okay, daily down, right? And so we're sitting at a lower low now, and then the market is just starting to move. So here's the lower low, here's the lowest point, and then the market starts to shift up, all right? And so that's on my daily time frame. And so I'm literally writing this down on like my notepad or something like that, right? Then I go to the 4-hour chart, okay? And then where that low was, if we slide down, this is where that low was on the daily. If we look at what's happening now, this is essentially what I was talking about before. You have those impulses. So we reached this low, and then on the 4-hour, we created this kind of impulse that's now shooting up. So this is the market now starting to break that trend on the daily and starting to make a move up, all right? And so on the 4-hour, we have like this impulse that's moving up, okay? And so I'll say 4-hour, and then this will kind of be like an impulse up, okay? So we're starting to move into an uptrend here, all right? So that'll be on the 4-hour chart, all right? And then next, on the 1-hour chart, and so you just keep dialing down, and then every time frame is doing something. Like that's the focus of what I want you guys to understand what like that I'm doing. Every time frame is doing something. Like there's a trend, like there's something happening. And then actually here on the 4-hour, we're already in an uptrend because I didn't see on the other side what happened. So this is the low, and then if you look on the 4-hour, we started at this low, and then we came up to this high right here, and then we actually pulled back. I thought this was the highest point, but it wasn't. So it pulled back here for a higher low, and then look what happened as we moved over, right? Look what happened. We went higher. So the 4-hour chart actually has created a uptrend. So on the 4-hour time frame, we're actually in a uptrend right now. So not only did the 4-hour create an impulse, but it actually pulled back and then created a higher high. So the 4-hour is in a uptrend. So we're in the uptrend on the 4-hour. Now we're going to come down to the 1-hour, right? And so this is how I start like my pregame. Okay. And so now on the 1-hour chart, now it's starting to get like, it's hard to kind of see what's going on because the chart is kind of all crazy. So what I like to do is I kind of like to go to like the last point that I can clearly see in the market. So the last point that I can clearly see, the last trend is starting at this low right here. And then the market kind of starts trending up like crazy. Right. And then here it starts to kind of break down here. So on the 1-hour chart, from this point right here going up, this is like an uptrend, okay? So this is the market starting at this low and then starting to trend up. Like this is an uptrend right here. So what I would do is I could just draw this out real quick. And this is just like very, very simple, like just bird's eye view. Like you could just see what that current trend is. So this would be the 1-hour. So the 1-hour here would be a uptrend. And this is just my pregame. Like this is how I figure out where's the market most likely to go. So boom, so that's going up. Now, when I come to the 30-minute chart, I can see the 30-minute chart is breaking this uptrend structure and it started a downtrend. So now I can see clearly what's really happening now. So the 30-minute chart is in a downtrend. So that's in a downtrend. And then as I see what's happening on the 30-minute downtrend, I also see now the 30-minute has also created this impulse up, okay? So this impulse is now price starting to initiate a uptrend right here, all right? Because we're starting to come up on this last move here where we formed this lower high. So we got a high, we got a low, we got a lower high, and then we got a lower low here. And look at how this move just shot up on the 30. So I'm paying attention to this. So this is basically an impulse on the 30-minute chart. And so I'll just make a note here, impulse up on the 30. All right. So now I'm starting to see where this market is most likely to go for last week. Like this is what I was seeing. Okay. So now when I get to the 30-minute chart, this is where I like to start drawing some zones. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll draw zones, and basically for zones, you know, it's essentially support and resistance zones. So what I'm looking for specifically is where's an area where price is respecting as resistance on top or support on top or resistance at the bottom. Or vice versa. Like if price is rejecting at the top and the bottom, that's basically what I'm looking for, just to keep it simple for the new people. If price is making a huge rejection at the top and a huge rejection at the bottom, that's what I'm looking for to validate a zone. So I got a rejection going up here. I got a rejection underneath going down here. A zone should be there, right? And then so on and so forth. I could do the same thing right here. I could put a zone there because I got rejection right here at the top. And then I also got rejection. So let's move this over. So I got rejection here at the bottom, and then I got rejection here for breaking retest going up at the top, right? And so on and so forth. That's how I kind of draw my zones out. So I'm gonna just draw this out real quick, and then you can kind of see where I draw my zones. These are areas where price is tapping and rejecting multiple times at the top and at the bottom. So that's mainly what I'm looking for when I draw these zones. So sometimes I could draw these zones on the 4-hour chart, or sometimes I could draw these zones on a 30-minute, like wherever I can see it clear, that's where I draw it.
Hey folks, what a view behind me. I'm at Black Bull Markets headquarters here in Auckland, New Zealand. Speaking of views, you can get TradingView paid plans for free at Black Bull Markets, and you can also get a 100% deposit bonus for your first deposit up to $1,000. All you need to do is click the Trading Nut link in the description below.
So now we got the 30-minute is moving up. Now when we come down to the 15-minute chart, look what we have here. On the 15-minute chart, we have a downward trend that's taking place here on the 15-minute chart, okay? So price starts to go into this downward trend, and then look what happens here on the 15-minute chart. From this downward move on the 15-minute, you then get this impulse up. And this is what I saw when I came to the market last week. We saw this impulse up. So if we go to Sunday of last week, which was right here, we're just gonna hit replay to it real quick. When I go to Sunday of last week, this is what I come to the market seeing. So if this was in a 15-minute downtrend, remember, everything is trends. So if this is in a 15-minute downtrend, okay, if this is in a 15-minute downtrend and we get this impulse that was created the week prior, okay, what do we think is about to happen? The 15-minute is now going to create another series of trends. It's going to create a low. It's going to pull back up at some point. It's going to create a lower low. And where that lower low is, if I have price coming into a session where it's pre-London or pre-New York going into New York open, and I have sellers controlling the market, and all of a sudden buyers overtake the sellers at a zone, that is an entry point for me. So we'll get into that real quick. But what I'm looking for and what I'm expecting, if I see this is an impulse, which means that there is a probability that there's going to be a downtrend that's going to form a lower low, or it could be a series of lows. But at some point, as long as we respect this low, we're going to buy back up. And I'm looking for price to happen pre-London going into London open, or pre-New York going into New York open. I'm looking for buyers to overtake sellers. And then I'll walk you through what that looks like. So this is what I'm expecting. If I see this impulse up on the 15, I'm expecting a downtrend, and then I want to catch that buy move going up because it's going to be a big move, because again, we have to create a higher high off this impulse. Okay. So essentially what ended up happening, we'll fast forward, price stayed in the trend. It started coming down. So these little, like session tool thing that I have here, this is basically giving me, this is like an indicator on TradingView that you can use, but this is basically here. I'll show you the settings. So this is basically, it's giving me like the time that I'm looking for. So for me, the pre-London is at like 2 a.m., like New York time. And then, so I have it from 2 a.m. New York time, like going to 12 p.m. Like New York time, right? And so that kind of covers like the pre going into London open, and then the pre-New York going into New York open for me. And so what I'm looking for specifically is I want to see, as I come into this, I want to see sellers in control and then buyers buying up at a zone. Like that's the main thing I want to see, right? And so let's just keep coming down. So this is what I love to see right here. So right here, we had sellers take control of the market, okay? And then we got buyers coming up, but this is outside of my trading time. So let's keep going. And then you can't get shaken by this. You can't get confused by this either. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just outside of my trading time. So that's when the discipline comes in. And so here we go. Here we go. You're going to see sellers right here. So we got a zone here. And I would have drawn this up. So as the market starts to build out, you start to draw more zones. You know what I'm saying? So as the market starts to show you more structure, you start to build out like more zones and stuff, right? So we got a zone about right here, all right? And then right here, we got sellers controlling the market. And this is like 4:15 a.m. You got sellers controlling the market. You got some consolidation that happened. And then if you follow this trend from this high, this is just accumulation. So you got to follow the trend. You come from this high, you come here, then you have a pullback. Now we're going into the lower low, okay? Once you come into this lower low, you're expecting now price is going to possibly give you an opportunity at some point, all right? Because now you're building a fresh little smaller trend here. So now I'm just waiting for sellers to control the market and buyers to come up. So right here, Cam, literally right here is where the entry is right here. Right here. So this is sellers. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little teaching here. And I know it's hard to kind of figure out my mentality, but here's what I was taught. If you look at this candle right here, this is a huge seller's candle. And I'm trying to explain like what I've built over time as my intuition, but I'm like Einstein. I know it, but it's kind of hard to kind of, when I'm ranting, it's kind of hard to follow. But here's what I was taught, and this has been with me for a long time. If you look at this right here, like I'm already expecting buys, but I'm just waiting for the shift in momentum. So if you look at this right here, if a person that's looking to follow the current trend didn't understand what the market was doing prior or doesn't have a top-down analysis, they're looking at this and saying, oh, we're creating a lower low. This is going to continue to sell. When a normal trader sees this, and this is how I used to be, you're like, yo, look at this big candle. This is going to keep selling. If you saw this, Cam, you would think this is going to keep selling, correct?
Yeah, look, it looks pretty strong just at that angle. Yeah,
Perfect.
It does. Yeah.
This is what I'm looking for. So I have this thing where I say buyers overtake sellers. That means that sellers are in control, full momentum, full volume, right? But right after that candle closes, you get a buyers engulfing candle come up right alongside it. That indicates to me, and like, again, I've built this over time, intuition, but these are the foundations of the things that I was taught. And it's carried with me throughout my journey. And so I'm utilizing it in a different way than I was taught. But these things stay true to me because this is what I saw my mentor do. These are the things I heard him talk about. So like from a logical standpoint, with this type of volume, as you said, a lot of momentum right here. If sellers were really in control, there's no way that buyers can just come out and there's no doji candle in between. There is no like decrease in momentum. Yeah. Literally going from this high volume seller's candle to a high volume buyer's candle. There has to be a reason why, because buyers like retail traders are driving the market and institutions are getting ready to take over. Like that's the easiest simplistic way that I can explain it, right? So we're already expecting, as a market structure trend trader, I'm already expecting buyers to come in at a lower low. I'm gauging this lower low from this accumulation right here. This is a small trend, small downtrend on the 15-minute chart. I'm already waiting for buyers.
Hey, if candlesticks still confuse you, they're costing you more than you think. My private mentor JJ's decoded 25,000 hours of trading into one better candlestick. Click the link in the description or visit tradingnut.com to watch the free video and grab the free guide.
This candle happens right here where I'm seeing buyers literally come out of nowhere. It's within my trading time. It's 7 a.m. This is pre-New York. This is spot on for me. This is my window. Buyers come up out of nowhere, Cam. This is the entry. Now, where I made a mistake and where my entry, I got in earlier up here. I wasn't supposed to, right? I got in earlier and then I got stopped out, right? But this is the entry. This is the entry right here. Stops always below the previous candle low. Like we keep our stop losses tight. And then we're literally targeting minimum 1 to 3 risk reward. So we're using our position tool and we're targeting our first take profit is going to be 3 times our risk. So it'll be somewhere at the previous high up here, right? Now, the trades that I go for, like I told you, Cam, because I keep the overall perspective of the market in mind. Remember what I told you about this impulse. If this low stays respected and we create this impulse, remember, this is a trend too that's developing. This is a larger trend, Cam, that's developing. So this essentially is the pullback that's going to create a higher high. So this would be a trade personally for me that I would just hold. Now, I don't hold over the weekend, so I would have closed this trade. But like we can see GU coming into this week creating a higher high up here. So like when I tell you like some of the trades I take, I get 5 times my risk, 6 times my risk. This would have been one of those setups. So essentially, Cam, these are the entries we're taking. They all don't always go our way, but my brother, when they go, my brother. And that's it, bro. When they go, they go. And that's what we're looking at. So I literally had a trader in my group that literally caught this trade and sent me this whole emotional message about just how amazing it was. And that's pretty much how I trade, man.
Well, yeah, look, mate, this is fantastic. It's so good getting people on the show and just seeing what they do, because everyone does something different. And even with this, I've just learned something that I didn't really, I'd seen before a million times, but I couldn't label it. And I'd never really known how to pigeonhole it as something, which was that impulse, right? Which is that kind of change in the direction of the trend. I mean, I see it a million times. I see it every day, but I just never had a label for it. So I appreciate that. And look, I appreciate you for coming on and sharing what you actually do. It's a real insightful look, folks. I would recommend rewinding this and having it watched a few times. It's great stuff. So Calvin, thanks for coming on the show.
I can share one thing real quick, Cam.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like I've just gone out of replay mode. So just based off that analysis, remember, like for guys coming into this week, because the market is getting ready to open soon. So I just want to kind of give a little projection here. If you look at like right now, it's August 31st right now for me. So this low is still in place. Because this low is still in place, don't be surprised. Like this is where we are before the market opens. Don't be surprised if, again, you see another downtrend right here on this pullback. If this low stays respected right here, look for another 15-minute downtrend that's going to create a low, a pullback, a lower low, and look for that same exact move to buy back up. The same thing, buyers overtaking sellers to buy back up, tight stop losses, and this time you're going to come back up to this zone around this, this 1.35743 level, because remember, this overall impulse has to create a higher high. It has to create a higher high. It has to. So if this stays intact, if this low stays intact, look for another sequence of what happened last week to happen again to buy back up. And awesome. That's it, man.
Well, by the time this goes live, we might actually have the after view of that, so we can have a look and see if we can play it out. Hey, look, mate, what's the best way for folks to find out more about you?
Hey, man, Forex Beginner Podcast on YouTube and Instagram as well. God bless you guys. Appreciate you, Cam.
Appreciate you too, man. What we'll do is hook that link up to the show notes below the video here. We'll also got the podcast as well, so go and find out his entire story. And whilst you're down there, hit subscribe, like, and that notifications bell, and we'll see you in the next one.